Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dylan Silver, and today on the show I have a real estate investor, entrepreneur based out of Atlanta, Georgia, Brett Bedwell. Brett, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here, Dylan.
It's a pleasure to have you. We were chopping it up before hopping on here. I got to learn a little bit about your backstory and your real estate business out there. But you mentioned, you've been involved in real estate and even studied it in school. Where did the interest in real estate come from initially?
Oh man, that's a loaded question right there. It kind of started when I basically got my first W-2 job and realized, oh man, I got to do this for the next 40 years.
Yeah.
But I'd say, right around the time I got into, let's take a step back. I went to University of Georgia, which is about an hour and 15 minutes outside of Atlanta, in Athens, Georgia. And I got a degree in accounting. Back then it was 2009. We were all suffering if you were, coming out of school around that time because of the Great Recession. So finding a job is all I wanted at that point. I was working at a restaurant out of school for a little bit, Taco Mac, for any of y'all that have heard of it, in Atlanta. But so I was, just trying to survive and pay bills. But I got into a public accounting company and got my own desk and got my own office and sat down. I was like, man, this is the life. And about a week later, I was like, wait a second, this is my life for the rest of my working years, for the best years of my life.
Yeah.
So I started exploring, way back then, even that was probably 2014 ish. How am I going to get out of this? So the first thing that comes to mind is, okay, try to max out your retirement accounts and whatnot,
Accounts.
So,
right? Yeah.
Right. That's what they tell you. Oh, invest money, So what I didn't realize at the time is you're an outside investor if you're investing in stocks, you're not an insider. And so I started doing a little bit of research, and about 2015 or 16 or so, I started learning about Bigger Pockets. You've probably heard of it.
Yeah.
And Brandon Turner and David Green were the leaders of that podcast. And they were kind of just starting out way back then. So I started learning how to analyze real estate deals. And it was pretty simple back then. Brandon Turner's got this methodology called the Foursquare method. And he just looks at revenue, expenses, CapEx, operating costs, cash flow. He analyzes those things real quick and dirty. I already knew how to do that because I was a CPA, right? And I was already crunching numbers for other businesses. So it made sense to me to go look at this. And back then, I started saying, wait a second, you can make money renting out properties and be passive, basically, and not, you can go to sleep and be making money. And back then, Warren Buffett always talked about, if you can't figure out how to make money in your sleep, then you're going to die broke. So I hadn't worked up the courage yet back then. I just had a buddy, my buddy Sam Crochet, who's also a real estate investor now. We were meeting every year in Park City. We've been friends since we were 3 years old. So we were meeting up in Park City, Utah to ski every day. And every day after we get off the lifts and, come home and we'd get in a hot tub and drink some beers, he would ask me, how many properties you've invested in now, Brett? And every year I would say, just one. So I bought a property in 2014 as a place to live and was renting out a room. Didn't know I was doing what they call house hacking at the time, and building some equity and having someone else pay down that loan for me, which was nice. Well, flash forward back to having conversations with Sam. Every year I'd show up in that hot tub and I would say I have one property, and then so by 2019 I had been fed up with his questions. So that's around the time I met my wife Emily, and she also had a property, but it had an HOA. So we couldn't even rent out her property. Our initial thought was, okay, let's rent out my property and let's rent out your property. But so we decided to sell her property, and that gave us the first capital we needed to invest in some rental properties in Atlanta. So we started looking in 2019 into 2020, and we decided to buy our first rental properties. Ended up being some of the best investments we've ever made, obviously because of COVID, doubling prices everywhere.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
But so I started actually racking up some momentum with Emily, and we did all our renovations on our own. I would do the plumbing, electrical. Her mom would come in and help us do the floors. We'd do countertops. We'd do paint cabinets. Anything you can name, we were doing it. DIY, man. That's how you build credibility in that industry, is sweat equity in the beginning. But so flash forward to now, we've got 7 properties, 6 in Atlanta and 1 on Lake Hartwell in Georgia, North Georgia, and we're turning it into an Airbnb right now. We're trying to systematize things now, though. That's where we're at.
I want to back up a bit. You mentioned you were listening to Bigger Pockets. That was kind of your education as far as learning a little bit more about the real estate space. But was there real estate in your blood? Did you know family that was involved in it? What made you think real estate's going to be a good option for me versus so many other paths?
So that's funny you said that. Actually, my great grandfather was a builder, and he actually lost all his money. So he was building houses, and then he was the bank too. So he would let people do owner financing on the properties he built. And during the Great Recession, he lost everything he had. So that was the end of the Bedwell family owning real estate until Brett came along. Hang on one second. I want to grab a charger.
Sure.
But before that, it was really, after that, it was really just me trying to learn about how you can get out of a W-2. And that's kind of where it started.
I think it's interesting, right? Because even fields that are related to real estate or to finance, tax strategy, people don't always hop into real estate. But I wasn't an accountant. I was working for Nissan, and I had a feeling because I was seeing people who were 20, 30 years my senior, and I was not really thrilled with what I was seeing. I was like, they're making a lot of money, don't seem to have tons of savings. I don't know how they're going to retire. I know how much I think it costs to retire. It seems like it costs like $2 to $4 million. I don't know, maybe more. I'm not an accountant, but I'm like, when I'm older, it's going to be more than that. how am I going to do this? And so I was also looking at not owning a house, and I had what I thought was really great circumstances. I had lived in this really nice apartment in San Antonio, had this nice car. I remember thinking I'd made it because we had 2 pools at the apartment complex and 2 gyms. And I lived next door to Topgolf, and I was like, this is amazing.
That's fancy, huh?
Yeah, that was, for me, I was like, I can't do better than this. And but what I was seeing was every year they would raise the rent by like $50. And I was like grateful that it wasn't raising it by 100, but I was also thinking, it does feel like real estate was stacked not in my favor. So I was thinking, I'm working all these hours for Nissan, like 12, 14, legitimately 12, 14-hour days, Monday through Friday, and then 8 hours on Sunday at the time. And I was also feeling like, is this it? Is this it? Is it like, it was a kind of an existential pressure that was put on me. And I would just be wiped out going home at the end of the day and thinking like, well, what do I do from here? And it was honestly that it's the funniest thing. If they weren't increasing my rents $50 every year, I don't think I would be in real estate. But I saw them doing that, and it got me to think, like, how come all of these, however many hundreds or thousands of people, are just carte blanche being like, yeah, we'll pay more this year? And I was asking people, like, did they raise your rents too? Yeah, they raise our rents, blah, 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 blah. And I was thinking, well, if they're doing this with everybody and no one's putting up that much of a resistance, or like we can't, I can't beat them. How do I join them? And so I remember I started putting in applications to companies involved in real estate and ended up getting hired at the time. And that was how I got into the real estate space.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah, I mean, it'll change your mindset real quick when you have to go into an office, and you're only getting 3% raises per year, but they're increasing your rent 5%. It's like, okay, well, you telling me I'm going to take a pay cut for working this hard every day when I'm this young,
Yeah.
And they really get you when you're young, right? That's when everybody goes up.
You probably had that similar. It was. I was looking around too, because I'm 31 now, but at the time I was like 26, 27, 28 when I was really realizing what was, to me, like a pressure. I was feeling this like stress, for lack of a better word. And I was looking around to the people my age, younger and older, and I was saying, like, are they stressed out about this too, or is it just me? And I think it's a unique thing. You probably share this experience where not everyone has this sinking feeling, but I definitely had it. It seems like you had that same kind of idea, like, I hope I'm not just doing this forever.
I think we're kind of a special kind of person. I'd say 10% of us probably think like me and you, Dylan. And 90% of the world just want to go to work, get it done, come home, and that's it. It takes a special mind to say, am I really going to spend the rest of my life doing this, or am I going to try something different?
I want to pivot a bit here, Brett, about scaling. So you mentioned you house hacked that first situation kind of without realizing it was house hacking. Now you've got 7 properties in the portfolio, but also because you're an accountant and that's your background, we talked before hopping on here about some of the ways that you're analyzing the market and trends, and you mentioned going to Austin, Texas. I'm in Dallas for a conference here recently. What things have you done to scale, and what are you excited about in the future of your real estate business?
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Good question. So really scaling has just popped into our mind in the past year, pretty much. We've just acquired enough properties to where it's pushed us into an uncomfortable position, because here's the fact: when you're in that in between stage, you between getting your first property and having the eye-opening moment of this is real estate versus, you go all the way on the other end of the spectrum and you're a builder, you're making lots of cash flow and you're financially free. There's this middle ground. We're stuck in the middle right now. So we've not reduced our work, which is the goal of real estate, right? I think when we got into real estate, everybody can agree it wasn't to work more hours. It wasn't to, bust your butt more at the end of the day. But that's what you end up doing sometimes for the sake of generating more income or, driving down your costs.
Yeah.
In the beginning, sweat equity is a real asset, to be honest. And that's how, we were able to do some of these projects, is going to Home Depot 5 times a day, doing it on the weekends and the nights over and over again. Like, that's the part people miss. And that's why a lot of people don't invest in real estate, is because it's not passive. Even though the IRS says it's a passive investment, it is by far the most, active investment of the passive investments.
Yeah,
so
passive investment.
going back to your systems question, we haven't really made it a necessity, because I've always enjoyed doing those DIY tasks. We were always DIYers. I was always trying to figure out I wanted to know, I had a curiosity. How do I run plumbing? How do I run electrical? How do I put drywall up? How do I, there's this extra space in this house. How do we do it? And now my time has become more of an asset more than ever, because I have a child now. I'm 38 years old. So we had a kid in December. I want to spend time with Blair over, spending time at a house on a night or weekend. Emily's not with me anymore because she's got to watch the baby. So that's changed our philosophies a lot. We try to utilize ChatGPT a lot and say, how can I systematize my business? So our big scaling issue is, how do we get our time back, right?
Yeah.
So at first I was looking at third-party property managers, realized, okay, maybe that's not the sweet spot. It is the most passive direction right now, but is it going to be good for me scaling my business? And the answer to that was, maybe I need to look into hiring somebody. So right now we're looking into hiring either a virtual assistant, or we're going to, hire somebody local who can take over all the long-term property management. And then for the Airbnb, we're trying to use software to help us systematize that. We want to use, Hospitable, which was somebody who was at the REI summit that we met. You probably heard of it. It's like Guestly and Lodgify. There's a few different softwares out there for running Airbnbs, but they're critical as far as using AI and automating the whole process. So the past couple of days, I've put a lot of work into automating questions on there. So just those kinds of automations make it easier to scale. If I'm not spending time answering questions to people checking into our Airbnb, then I have more time to look for deals. So a lot of what they talk about at REI Summit too is like, how do I spend time on the $5,000 an hour jobs and less on the $50 an hour jobs? Well, to be honest, deal finding is really the most important and the thing that's going to make you scale. Yep. Finding deals that meet your criteria and analyzing the hell out of them, because you can hire somebody to change this fan, right? Let's put this fan up, $50 an hour. I promise you will get somebody to do something for $50 an hour. So the key is to take yourself. In the beginning, it's how do I work those $50 an hour jobs to build sweat equity? And as you grow, it becomes, how do I offload those to other people so I can do the tasks that keep me growing instead of just surviving?
Brett, you mentioned a couple topics that I think a lot of people may be thinking about, but not implementing yet. And then you also mentioned that you're starting to implement some of these. You mentioned AI, ChatGPT. You mentioned a tool that you're using for the Airbnbs. When I think about all of this, I think about really people have to make a decision between how much they want to manage everything themselves, because they may take some pride in that, versus their desire to scale their business. I'll give you an example. So I was talking with someone who specifically did Airbnb management for other people. This person was based out of, I believe it was South Florida, and they didn't do the cleaning. They didn't do, the staging of the Airbnb. All they did was the communications and the advertising. And that was a whole business based out of that. And so, I was asking him and some other people, what makes a good Airbnb host in general? And they said, well, actually, you have to like to host people. And so what's interesting is liking hosting people isn't necessarily easy to be done at scale, because now you're if you have, 3 Airbnbs, you can kind of treat it like a hobby. But if you've got 50, it's hard to be, dialed in on each one. So you do have to give up the reins a little bit, whether it's to AI or whether it's to, someone that you hire, or whether it's to a third party. And that process can both seem like a lot of overhead, especially if people are scaling and, maybe bootstrapping. And it can also feel like, well, this isn't how we've done things to this point. But just being a real estate operator, and the thing that I've noticed is like continuity, similarities between high level real estate operators, is they have the ability to adapt. Like every 5 years, it seems like strategies that worked before COVID don't necessarily work now. Fix and flips, it might be getting harder to do, so people are doing new builds. You've got one Airbnb and 6, 7 rental properties. Well, how do we get people involved so that we're not managing all this stuff ourselves?
Right. Yeah, I think it's important to analyze macro and micro trends along with, figuring out what you're good at and what niches are available in your markets. I mean, there's just a million ways to analyze real estate. And that's honestly what I love about it. And going back to buying stocks, right? That's what everybody wants to do. Why do they want to do that? Because it's 100% passive. You literally just sit and, hope for it to go up and down, or maybe it gives you a dividend. Well, if it's that passive, you can expect it to give you lower returns at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what it is, right? The more you're involved with it, the more ROI you're going to get. So real estate, that's an insider's game. I mean, think about it. I'm telling you about, I know what the permits are going to do, especially in Atlanta for 2026 and 2027. That's insider information. That would be considered illegal if you knew that for stocks,
If it
right?
was securitized, yeah.
Yeah, it's called insider trading. Like, you have information that other people don't have. That's against the law. Well, real estate, I can go up to a realtor. I can get information from somebody local. They can tell me, hey, this brand new, park is going in over in this area. That's going to drive up property values. That's insider information. If I can utilize that to go buy a single family home in that area, or if I know about regulations, I mean, it's just endless that you can get so much knowledge about real estate in particular areas and create niches. But here's the thing, like you said, it goes in and out of, okay, we took advantage of our time. Like Atlanta, we bought single family homes when they were $250,000. Now they're worth 500. Interest rates have gone up. We had our time for that, right? And here's another thing. We've got a lot of mentors too in our lives. That's an important part of real estate investing. I've got mentors not only in the public realm, like people that work under Brandon Turner and or in his network. We all talk to each other. On top of that, I have people in the Emory network in Atlanta, and they're all real estate investors. And they all, one of my best mentors, his name's Jeff. He runs an investment firm in Atlanta, and I meet with him quarterly. I set that up, and I was just persistent about it, and he knew I valued the information he was going to give me, and he challenges me. He tells me I'm unsophisticated buying single family homes. That's what you need to hear to keep growing, though. It's the truth. Like, if you want to get bigger and better, and the more properties you acquire, the more people are going to come along and be like, how did you do that?
Yeah.
You don't need, okay, don't listen to that. That's not going to help you. What's going to help you is going to the people that are worth, $100 million who are juggling 500 AUM and ask them, how did you get here? How do I get here? And not only utilizing those people, utilizing ChatGPT to build these systems. If you can utilize ChatGPT, say, give me, all you have to do is prompt it to say, give me a game plan to be at $50 million net worth in 10 years. If you're realistic with it, it'll say, I think you can do this. And it'll build you a game plan. You can say, today, what do I do? Tomorrow, what do I do? It'll give you day by day. Are you going to go do it? Who knows?
I love that. I have some Chat GPT prompts that I've done myself that are, I think, what would I do without some of these things? I've got one that I said, adopt the persona of the top performing real estate broker in Texas. I'm a newly licensed agent. I'm also a wholesaler. I'm going to present you some situations, some deals. I'd like you to assist me in evaluating them, and I'll provide feedback as necessary. And this, ChatGPT broker is phenomenal. It's amazing. I've even gotten more into land, looking at infill lots and modular homes, which you talked about before hopping on here, because of that. But Brett, we are coming up on time here. Where can folks go maybe to reach out to you? Or to learn more about what you got going on out there in Atlanta?
Yeah, we're on Instagram, Redheaded Real Estate. So we have properties on Airbnb too, and we're still growing. But I think the main place to find us is Instagram. And we try to post as much as we can on there about what we're doing. And if you want to reach out, feel free to DM us, and we'd love to hear from you.
Brett, thank you so much for coming on the show here today.
Thank you, Dylan. I appreciate it, man.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.